This podcast contains strong language and adult themes from the outset.
Finding the funny. Finding the funny. With Ruth and Ange. Finding the funny.
This week, neither Ange or I can really believe that we're talking to this guest. She is one of the most revered names in British comedy and has carved a career that has spanned decades. Making her debut on Channel 4's The Comic Strip Presents in 1982, she is still a household name some 40 years later. She met now lifelong friend Jennifer Saunders in 1978 when they were both undergrad students. They went on to become one of the most iconic comedy duos of our time. The pair have had hit TV shows, live tours, and now their own podcast, Titting About. The Corden siblings had one of those marvellous live tours on VHS, and it was something all three of us loved and laughed at time and time again. The I Know Him So Well duet, you can find it on YouTube, was a constant rewind point for us. Finally, we couldn't do an intro to her without mentioning bosswoman Geraldine, the best vicar of our time. If you haven't guessed who we're talking to today, you must have been living under a rock. Please give a raucous, finding the funny welcome to one of our all-time comedic heroes. I can't actually believe I'm about to say this. The fabulous, the iconic, the hilarious Dawn
Jennifer
French.
Saunders. Hey!
Straight in.
And here I am, and I answer to both of those names because I'm called both of them very often. And talking about names, do you mind if I start off by saying slightly confusing that I know that there's Ange and I know there's Ruth, but who the F is Patty?
Well, that is a very good question, Dawn, because Patty is actually Ruth.
Yes. How?
Well, Ruth.
Are you allowed to say?
To be honest, Dawn,
is there a true
no,
story and a story for
there's not
grown-ups?
really actually any story. Ruth, over her years, has had various nicknames. For example, Chibby Moulon, Rudy, Chibsticks, Riads. There have been a numerous amount, but for some reason, Patty's really stuck around. Patty has gone long time, hasn't she, Pats?
Yeah.
So it's not for any reason. It's just a name that you like the sound of.
I think she's probably more of a Patty than she is a Ruth, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Okay.
I don't know how you get there.
Patty's sort of American, isn't she? With a bit of an apron on, and I don't know.
There is a little bit of a link around, and I think this is maybe where Patty did come from, was because when we were, I can't believe we're having this
she is telling me.
with Dawn
Shush
French
now, shush, Patty, shush.
When we were holidaying a couple of years ago in the United States of America, Dawn, Ruth.
Thank you for placing it geographically.
Not a problem, not a problem. Ruth purchased a hat in the US, right? That she was on her own when she purchased. Big mistake.
Which is I'm reading into that that's not a good idea.
No. So she purchased.
Was it a hat to keep the sun out, or was it a hat to look like a lovely dandy girl?
She had a cold sore, right? So she was trying to keep the sun from the cold sore. So she bought this particular hat, and she walked up to us with the hat on, and straight away I just said, "You look like you should be called Patty." So
that's what I expect to see when you say that name, and that's not what I'm looking at.
So there started the Patty hat.
Yeah. I love nicknames, actually. I was called for a very long time in my childhood by my parents because we lived in Cyprus for quite a long time, for 4 years when I was a kid, because my dad was in the RAF.
Same. So was our dad.
Yes, I know this. I know this about you. And he, because we lived in Cyprus, we were around lots of Greek people, obviously, and we picked up a little bit of Greek language, none of which I can remember now. But my name, Dawn, the rising of the sun, in Greek, I believe, I'm probably going to say it wrong, is Haravyi, right? So Haravyi means the rising of the sun, that's Dawn. But you add, in Greek Cypriot, you add mu on the end, which means dear, darling. You know, it's like darling Dawn, sweetie, pie. You know, it's that. So Haravyi mu, that was one thing I was called by the parents. And, of course, that was shortened to Moo.
To just Moo.
So I was called Moo by my parents and by my close family for a long time. And then I came back to England. And of course, Moo was what Alf Garnett called, his wife. It wasn't quite as friendly and
endearing,
and yummy as I thought. But there are people from my school years who only know me as Moo. I was in the school register as Moo French.
That is so
there are
good.
people, I know where people are from in my life when they call me
Refer
Moo.
to you as Moo.
Yes.
Exclusive. You heard it here first.
Yeah, that's
Exclusive.
it.
Could we, today then, Dawn, could we actually call you
You
Moo?
can. I'd love it. Yeah, that's good.
No, we're not close enough yet. We're not close enough yet, Ange. Give it a couple of years. We'll be right in there.
I'm allowing it. I'm allowing us to be family. We're sisters. We're sistering here.
Yes, Dawn.
We are. But how
Yes.
come? Are you a bit jealous, Ange, that you don't have a?
Well, do you know, I was just
have a
about to say that.
nickname?
I have never had a nickname.
I've
just always been
Shall we give you one?
No, you were Andrew Eightsies growing up a lot. Got a
Sorry,
problem
my
with
dog
Andrew's
was
dog.
just trying to eat
Andrew's
some
dog can
pants
be
or
a bit of a
something.
dickhead during
Yeah,
the
apologies,
recording.
Really?
Dawn. Yeah,
What kind of dog is
yeah.
this?
Oh, she's a twatty dog name. to be perfectly honest.
Come on.
So,
No, actually, don't tell me. Let's have a guess.
right,
So, what
okay.
kind of dog is it?
She's fluffy. She's a fluffy sort of teddy.
But she's
looking
not
kind of
called
dog.
Fluffy, is she?
No,
Oh,
I
hell
don't.
no.
No,
All right.
I think you're getting confused. I think Andrew's going to tell you the breed, which is Twatty,
Yes.
not her
Yes.
actual name.
No.
Although her name is a bit twatty, but yeah.
She's
Rude.
surprised at that.
That is
What
just
is the
rude.
breed?
Well, yeah, the breed is twatty Dawn.
Yeah,
I'm
the
sorry.
breed
Is it a
She
poodle?
Well, she's got a bit of poodle in her.
Okay.
She is. Okay, wait for it. She
Oh
is
no.
a cavapouchon.
Oh, shut it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know.
stop
I know.
it.
I'm actually going to stop saying that.
So
When
it's
people
just like
say to me-
completely fluffy.
Yeah, she's just like a bit of a teddy bear, really.
Yeah,
I mean, she's
she
Yeah.
is.
she is
So
wonderful.
is she called? She's not called Teddy.
No,
She's
no,
not
no,
called Fluffy.
No,
she hasn't got a
no.
fluffy sort of name.
She's actually
No.
called Moo after you. Dawn. We all
She's
knew
not
that
called-
story already.
I would love it if your fluffy dog was called something like Satan, or Beelzebub, or
Do you know what?
anything
Yesterday,
rude.
I wished I'd call her. I took her on a walk yesterday. Nice long walk. I bloody love a walk, Dawn. Dawn. I called you Dawn
Yes.
there. Sorry, Dawn.
Dawn, anything. Jennifer, I answer to all
I
of
feel
it.
very relaxed already. Can you tell?
Yeah, drunk.
So, yes. Well, I have had a couple this morning just in preparation. So I was taking her on a long walk yesterday. Love a walk. And as we're out, I mean, thank God I take a roll of shitting poo bags with me.
Yes.
I reckon on that walk she did about 4 poos. And I actually got in my
shit. Quite
head, I wish
literally
I'd called
shit.
you Pauline. 4 poos Pauline.
Yes. Yes.
So I now wish I'd called her Pauline.
But she's not called Pauline.
She's not called
No.
Pauline.
Well, she's called.
She's
what?
called Luna.
Bit twatty.
Okay, yeah.
As in
I've got
Luna
mates who've got a dog
Tick.
called Luna.
There's a
bit
lot of
twatty.
Yeah.
Lunas. Yeah.
There's a
bit twatty.
phase of Lunas, yeah,
There
and
is.
children that are called Luna.
Yes.
Yes.
We're all into the moon.
We're
Yes.
big
It's a
in the
little bit
moons.
twatty. It
Yeah.
is
Little bit twatty,
yeah,
little
but
bit twatty.
But we'll let you have that one.
I'll
You can have
own
a
the
pass.
twattiness, to be perfectly honest with you. And actually, from now on, I might just actually call her Pauline anyway. so,
Pauline.
Yeah.
Pauline.
you know, I'm just
Well,
gonna
my dog's
carry
got a
on.
quite twatty name, which is Goody. I mean, that
That's
is a bit
good
odd, isn't it?
name.
Goody.
Yeah, she's not a
Bit
goody
twatty.
at all.
It's bit
It's
twatty.
a little bit twatty.
It's a bit twatty. I'm
Yeah,
not
a
sure.
bit
Is she a
twatty.
twatty breed though, Dawn?
Well, she is a Jack Russell, but a Parsons Jack Russell, which is like a Jack Russell with long legs.
Oh.
But here's the
wow.
twatty thing about my dog.
Twat.
Is that the twat? Is that she? Which I wish I'd called her that.
Yeah.
This will be much more apposite. But I wanted one of those kind of roughy tufty farm dogs.
Yes.
Like a proper little rough dog.
Yeah.
And I went to the breeder of the of this particular type, the Parsons Jack Russells. Wonderful women, 2 women that breed them. And she said to me, well, because you've come to us in plenty of time, you can choose the bitch and you can choose the dog. So the mum and the dad, you can choose them. So I said, all right, well, I definitely want a fluffy one. So, or a scruffy one. So let's choose scruffy dad, scruffy mum. And
Brilliant.
my dog, completely straight hair.
Yeah,
Completely
that's
straight.
so weird.
Complete
isn't it?
Well, Luna's a bit
aberration.
scruffy.
Yeah, and weirdly, because she is in that twatty 3 breeds that she is,
Yes.
which is a cavalier
Cacapoocachon.
Cacapoopi chatty choo twatty
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
She is So Mum was a Cavalier King Charles and a Bichon.
Yeah.
And Dad was a miniature poodle, right?
Oh, gosh.
And we
awful.
were thinking,
poor thing.
Beyond awful. Yeah.
God,
yes.
awful. We were thinking she was going to be quite curly, the poodly sort of. Well, she's not. She's quite.
Can I just say, guys, this is quite a boring story if you don't have a dog.
Yeah, well, unfortunately,
sorry about that.
You can't be part of this one.
Well, here's something you might be interested to know is that my mum, whose name was Felicity, and she hated that name because her mother gave it to her in the kind of hope that she sounded posher than she actually was. But she called her Felicity, which she refused to be called, so she used her middle name, which was Roma. That's what we all knew her as,
Roma.
or Mum.
Nice. Yeah.
She, when our family got into a bit of trouble with money later on in life, my mum thought, right, we've got to save the family. And she went off and she did a week-long, or maybe 2 weeks, course in canine beauty. Right?
What?
So, yes. Oh, yes.
Dog grooming.
Dog grooming. And then came back from this course. Like the criminal my mum sort of was, she etched out the year that she got the certificate and made it many, many years earlier. Put the certificate behind a piece of glass and rented a shop in the middle of town in Plymouth and called it Felicity's Pet Parlour. And so my mum, your kind of dog was my mum's meat and two veg.
There you go. There you go, Felicity.
That's what put me through school.
Yeah, I'd have
It's
been
fluffy
visiting
dogs.
that if I'd have been around in that time.
Yeah.
Ange,
Patty!
what's your favourite wine?
I think I'm currently quite into a Cabernet Sauvignon.
Oh yes, nice. A Cab Sav.
Yeah,
You're big into Cab Sav.
Cab Savs. I was quite into the Malbecs for a while, but I've now sort of moved over to the
Cab Savs.
The Cab Savs. Yeah,
Yeah, you've got a Cab Sav going.
Yeah.
Well, look, if you're into wine, which I think you are, we've chatted about this before, but can we have a little chat about Wine 52?
Do you know what I love chatting about wine? And when it's from Wine 52, it just is even better, in my opinion.
Because Wine 52 is a wine club that you can try through our link, which is www.wine52.com/funny. You just cover the cost of postage and packing of £5.95 and you will get 3 bottles delivered to your door for £5.95. 3 bottles of wine.
I mean, that's a no-brainer.
It is a
no-brainer because Wine 52 is a discovery club as well. So it's not just about getting your wines, it's about discovering the wines.
Amazing.
And it's all about showcasing the very best wine from a different region each and every month. And this is the thing I like the most, I think. And this month, the Wine Odyssey takes us to the stunning north of Portugal.
Oh.
I mean, I love a Portuguese wine.
Portuguese wines.
And this month, there is a great white, a gorgeous white made from a blend of the local grape varieties.
Amazing.
And then you've got a vibrant, medium-bodied red.
Oh, that's what I'm after.
That is what I'm after. That is what I want.
So you can have a choice of mixed, red only or white only per case.
Mm-hmm.
It also includes the Wine 52 Glug magazine, which we have both read and is very, very knowledgeable about
very
your
informative.
Wines. And 2 tasty snacks.
Yeah.
And the snacks, I'm in it for the snacks just on their own.
Just the snacks, yeah. Just
After your first case, which will cost you £5.95, you'll join the monthly wine club. There's no minimum commitment. If it's not for you, you can pause or cancel at any time. So remember, that's www.wine52.com/funny. Anyway, look, Dawn, we've got some questions for you. No, it's fine.
Yes,
we
carry on.
love the general chat. But firstly, honestly, I can't actually believe I'm talking to you. I know that's a bit fangirl-esque, but haven't we, Ange, been the most, we are the biggest.
Well, I'm glad to know you've got taste, guys. That's really
honestly,
good.
Your video, along with Victoria Wood's As Seen on TV, were the 2 videos that the 3 of us played. We could do it word for word.
Yeah.
And we still now send each other, the 3 of us, YouTube clips of that live tour that we had on VHS.
Yeah.
So So we are so thankful that you're here. We're so grateful that you've given up a bit of your time.
Of course.
So we had a few questions in for you. We actually had loads. It was difficult whittling them down. And the first one was from Claire, and she said, "What's been your favourite role to play and why?"
Oh, how can I choose that? Because, I've had so much fun with Jennifer over all these years, and we played so many different things together, both in French and Saunders and in the comic strip, where, we were a little group then and we played lots of different parts, and we had a kind of, do they call it favoured nations, where you're all paid the same and you kind of a cooperative.
Wow.
And you write films for each other, and you take a part, whether it's 2 lines or the main role or whatever. And, if that bloke's written it, you might be playing somebody in fishnet tights. And if this person's written it, you might be playing a school kid, and you might be playing an old woman with warts. You might be anything, So really, there's been so many different roles there, and lots of fun with Jennifer.
Yeah.
And then there was, and then there was Vicar, which I have such a warm place in my heart for, because of all the fun we had together and working with Richard, who's a good friend of mine. So it would be that. And then there are things that people forget a little bit about. Like I did a sitcom with Catherine Tate where we played lovers.
Yes, I remember that.
It was called Wild West, and I loved doing that. And I really loved a sitcom that I did called Roger and Val Have Just Got In, which was written by twin sisters, Emma and Beth Kilcoyne, who are just genius writers. And I did it with Alfred Molina. Do you know him? Actor. He was Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man.
Oh,
anyway,
okay.
He's a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant actor. And it was set in this couple's home. And what you kind of find out as it goes along is it's quite bittersweet that they lost a child when, many, many years ago. And are just basically trying to get on and get through and get on with life. But they love each other a lot. And they wrote it so that every half an hour was in real time. So you would open the door, and it would either be Roger or Val coming in from the end of a work day and going, "Val, are you in?" And then there would be the half an hour when he gets home from work. And we literally would make cups of tea in real time. We do everything in real time, and it was all about the minutiae
of life.
But it was exquisitely written.
What's it called, Dawn, again?
Roger and Val Have Just Got In. It was
Okay.
called, and we did 2 series of it, and I've got a really special place in my heart for that because we worked very hard at it, and it was so beautiful because it was funny but touching and everything. So some things go a bit unsung, but I have very happy memories of them. So
I'm going to try and find
choose.
that. I'm going to try and find that to watch because that sort of thing is my kind of TV or what I love to watch.
Good. I mean, one whole episode is about them finding the initial invoice for their Hoover so that they can claim some money on the on the warranty when it goes wrong. It's just like that. It's just about that. It's about booking a holiday and how they fall out. It's about little stuff.
But that is life, isn't it? That is
life.
It's
definitely.
those little things that actually quite often you don't really give much time or notice to, but they're the things that part of your
absolutely.
everyday
And that's where the fun is.
Surely, though, your favourite moment of The Vicar of Dibley was when James got his starring role and rode the bike
on his bike
and put up. I remember straight up. I remember when he got that. He was honestly, he was beside himself. So he'd been really trying to break it for a long time, up and down, lots of like kickbacks. And I'll never forget. He came home and he was like, "I'm going to be in The Vicar of Dibley." And we were all like,
and we that because we loved the show anyway. And then we were like, "Oh my gosh, he's got a part!" And we were literally like, "That episode, we've got to watch the bike." Going on the bike, putting the poster up on
I remember him being very excited. I remember that. It was very engaging. And of course, I played his mum.
Yes.
In The Wrong Man.
Yes,
I played his mother in that. Yeah.
All went full circle.
Full circle,
I know.
mate. Full circle. I think that's great to hear about those little things that make, like you say, things that have probably gone under the radar that people weren't aware of.
If you want to watch Val and
Roger and Val,
it's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, is it? Oh, well done.
Right, I am on that.
It's on Amazon
Thank
Prime.
you, Patty.
Yeah.
It was actually
Thank you,
Joe, the
Patsy.
producer.
Producer Joe,
okay.
straight on
Okay.
it. Okay, we had another question in for you, Dawn. This
Yes.
came from Michelle, and she
Yes.
says, "Who is your favourite comedian of all time?"
I think they
I mean,
actually
that's
do mean
another big one.
comedian, though, as in like female comedian.
Comedian.
Yeah, like who's your favourite? Obviously, Ange and I need to step aside for that.
Yes, but besides
so please
you
don't
guys,
say Patty or Ange because that is embarrassing.
Oh, that's hard, but I guess I would have to tip my hat to the great Victoria Wood.
Yes,
I think
my
I
God.
just would have to. You know, she's
Do you
just
know what
mighty.
I think is amazing about Victoria Wood? She is probably, present company excluded. For me, you and her would be like absolutely up on a par. She was so. She just appeared so humble, so grateful for what she was doing. Never any scandal. Like, she just turned up. She just seemed like the type of person that loved her job, gave it everything she did. And even if you take away, you know, or just think about all the writing that she did, like Dinner Ladies. Obviously, she was in that as well.
Yeah,
but like,
absolutely.
Very
generous in that way. Would often write things and give like the funniest stuff to other actors.
That's
you know.
Yeah.
But quite a strict taskmaster. I did a sketch with her once.
Wow.
I mean, she was my friend, but I hadn't worked with her, and I felt a bit sad that I hadn't worked with her actually. You know, it's like anybody that you really admire, isn't it? That if they don't actually give you a job somewhere along the line, you think, oh, maybe they don't like you. And you really hope that you wish for their blessings upon you.
Again, Ange and I will be in the wings waiting when you and Jennifer are ready to give
Anytime.
If you want to go from 2 to 4, we are waiting.
Or if you want to do another tour and you want us to be your warm-up act.
Have you got a stand-up act, you two, then? Have you got an act?
No, but we would...
Other than the podcast, which is basically like an act, really, isn't it? I mean,
but why don't you make an act?
I would love to do stand-up, do you know that? I would love to. But it's terrifying, isn't it? Because I think...
Why don't I throw down the gauntlet, then? Why don't you get 5 minutes? And I know what that takes. That takes a lot. Why don't you get 5 minutes of something together, written and learnt and rehearsed, and try it quietly in some comedy club?
I would love to.
Without other people knowing. Would you be up for it?
I think I might need a really big pair of pants to do that, Dawn, to be
Are
perfectly
you
honest.
shy then? Are you shy?
I'm not shy, but I'm not...
She doesn't have much self-belief.
Yes, I'm
probably.
like, I'm not. I can't do that. I'm not good enough to do that.
Okay. Well, you are. So
Patty's the other
you can
spectrum.
just, even if you feel that, you should still give it a go. Because what really can happen, besides some cripplingly, butt-clenchingly suck up the bar stool through your own anus embarrassment, other than that, which isn't going to kill you, it's only going to teach you something. Nothing bad can happen to you.
No.
And I've had many of those moments. Jennifer and I've had many moments like that.
I just think stand up. You go out, don't you? And it's just a load of people with their arms folded, going, "Well, you think you're funny, do you?
Yeah.
Do you think you're funny?"
Well, yes, but
I'll
they
be the
do
judge of
want to
that.
laugh. They have paid usually, or they've had a few drinks,
Although
and
they probably wouldn't pay for
generally
us.
want to laugh, because I've thought that. I've thought the audience is the enemy until I've thought, oh, actually, they could be your friends. And certainly, if you achieve a little bit of success and people know about you, and they literally do spend some money to buy a ticket, they are your friends. They are not your enemy. They're wishing you well. And most people in a comedy club are that.
Okay, I'm up for it, Ange. Let's do it.
Okay.
Why don't you?
I'll purchase some big pants and I'll go for it. Okay.
You get some tenor ladies.
Yeah,
and
a
push
couple of
on.
tenor ladies in. Yeah.
I mean, would you, if you off the cuff, do you think you would do characters, or would you be sisters? Have you ever seen Siblings, by the way? Do you know who I mean?
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I know.
They are Ruby Wax's two daughters.
Yeah, they've got
and
a podcast.
they are honestly hilarious. They're just hilarious, but they play lots of different characters.
Yeah.
They remind me a lot of very early kind of stuff that we do. They're much better than we were at that stage, I have to say. But the way that they kind of just give everything a go, and their energy is infectious. That's the only sisters that I know doing it. But why not? I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'd do it. I would love to do stand-up. I'd love to have done it once, and I would end my stand-up routine with me in a leotard doing the whole of the choreography to Single Ladies by Beyonce.
I would already I would pay to see that. Already.
Right, I'm going to do one more question. This is going to be our last question for you, Dawn. Right.
Yes.
Ange and I are obviously a duo.
Yes.
We actually said very early days, it was probably more me than Ange, look, we are the new French and Saunders.
Well done. Very good. Yeah.
So Ange is the cynical, always drunk Jennifer Saunders. I'm the hyperactive puppy Dawn French.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
So I am the Ange is the cynical one rolling her eyes at me. I'm the one with the big biro who doesn't quite know the words, giving it everything.
Well, you could be anything. And actually we are, and we reverse it quite often, although, we had to invent a kind of double act persona because, when we started, we only had a series of sketches and we had no way of hanging it all together. We didn't even know you had to do that. We didn't know what you're supposed to do. And we're not really even stand-ups. We're just taking the piss, we're just some women doing characters that make us laugh in that childlike way. That's why I encourage you to do that. But because we didn't have a kind of way to hang it all together, we did a rather pathetic thing, which was when it came to the end of the sketch, which very often wouldn't have a punchline because we didn't really know how to do that either. We would just bow like this, quite solemnly, say thank you. Like that, which was an indication to the audience that bit was over and it's time to clap. So they weren't clapping because it was funny. They're clapping because they've been told by us. I am trained as a teacher, remember, so I know how to handle a crowd. So just go, thank you, like that. So because it got so awkward, it was so jarring and ridiculous, we had to invent a sort of a couple of people called French and Saunders who would talk to each other between the sketches. And that's really where that came from. And the minute she put a turban on, we were home and dry, home and dry. Yeah.
One of my other favourite bits of that iconic VHS that we had is when you are on a radio station with Jennifer being interviewed and she keeps talking about your weight.
Yes.
And then you pick at the end of the interview, you pick your song and it just starts, "Hey, fatty bum bum."
That's right.
Mama sugar
dumpling. That's right. Yes. Well, I think that was a piss take of Desert Island Discs.
Yes,
it was that.
Yes.
And it was when back in a million years ago, Sue Lawley used to be the person who did Desert Island Discs, and she was quite often quite rude to people. So that's what we thought. Imagine if you get a guest on and you're just repeatedly rude to them. Yeah, I remember that.
And that is so funny because Jennifer is just absolutely roasting you.
Yeah, she is.
All the time.
She can't get past it. But I experience. Well, the reason why we wrote that is because I experienced that in my life.
Yeah, I bet.
There are people who just cannot get off
past.
it.
I know.
They cannot get off what you look like.
Yeah.
I mean, quite a lot of journalists do it. I mean, weirdly, recently, there's been 40 years of what my weight is like, whether it's up, down, in, out, whatever. It's always a point of conversation where you think, would you talk to a bloke like this? I can't believe you would. I can't believe you'd make it your first question.
Yeah.
But recently, that has gone to the back, and now it's all about the fact I've got grey hair.
Yes.
That's the only thing of interest.
I know.
Where you just think, all right, I'll explain it to you. It's actually boring. I just grew it out. And, it's just some hair. And I'm just growing it long enough to have my old cut, but I'm waiting. And I haven't got any funny stories to tell you about it. It's just hair. So let's get beyond it. But it's literally all anybody wants to talk about. So you think, so physically, for some reason, the physicality is massively important.
Yeah.
Well, it isn't. We know it isn't.
No,
and yet
exactly.
it's the first port of call all the time.
Yeah.
And because I'd had experienced so much rudeness or kind of this weird experience of people kind of judging you by your shape immediately, that's why we wrote that sketch, because I remember us saying, what if somebody couldn't get off that roundabout at all?
It is, and you just get up and walk out as it starts playing, and we used to rewind that bit loads as well, and we'd all be ready with all three of us would be waiting, "Here, fatty bum bum." But the question is, from Ange and I, is how do you maintain and keep the spark of a duo? How do you and Jennifer think you've stood the 40 years that you've been around for?
Well, you got to remember we met at drama college at the Central School of Screech and Trauma, where we were training to be drama teachers, and we shared a flat, right? I didn't really like Jen that much at the very beginning because she's quite posh, or I thought she was. She's not really. But I thought she was. She already had a whole friendship group of very beautiful, way out of my league sort of people.
Yeah.
So I thought. I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? And then I had to share a flat with her. She wanted a flat, I wanted a flat. And I remember thinking, because there was 6 of us that shared this flat, or maybe it was 7. And I remember thinking, well, I really want that flat. It's in Chalk Farm and it's really ace flat. But I'll have to share it with her. Shit. But of course, as soon as I got rid of my prejudice about her, which I still have to this day, prejudice against posh people, I have to get past it. You know, they have to sort of prove their worth to me, posh people. As soon as I got past that, I thought, oh, she's actually great. And we just were children together. We just enjoyed showing off for each other, and we sort of in love, really. And so because we were friends first, and this career came as a result of that friendship, I think we've been very careful to make sure the friendship is what is preserved. You know, the career's nice to have, and we've always, you know, thank God, we've always been able to do things together and do things separately, and then come back together. But that matters more to me than anything else. And of course, as time goes by, we've been there for each other. We've been there through babies, deaths of parents, illnesses, divorces, you name it. We've been there for each other. So that is why it endures. We also take very good note of each other. So I know if she's a bit pissed off about something. She knows my little triggers. And we sort of don't go there. We compromise before we get, like a marriage, I guess. It's like that, you know. I don't think we've ever had a full-on face-to-face row. We've had, because of sulky kind of moments. And we have that thing which I suspect happens with sisters. I don't know, I haven't got a sister. Where you kind of take a measure and you think, actually, that matters more to her than it does to me, so I'll give in. You know, and so that compromise is happening all the time. Because what we want is to enjoy each other. We want to have a lovely life together. We don't want to be rowing. So, you know, unlike boys, you know, boys we've worked with throw a pint over each other, have to have a bit of a standoff, take it all the way, have to have a winner. You know, whereas I don't think we have to have a winner all the time. And we're also very, very honest about moments where it's been, you know, where we've been troubled. Like, I went off to adopt my daughter, and she covered for me. Because we had some studios booked to do French and Saunders, but I was secretly involved with this adoption process, and it had been after a lot of, you know, all kinds of infertility stuff and difficult stuff, and so we knew that we were on the list if a baby came up, and you never know when it's going to happen. So we had these studios booked. We'd started to write a French and Saunders series, and then my daughter suddenly was suggested to her. So I had to step away, and I said to her, you've got to cover. She was one of the few people that knew this was what was going on. I said, you've got to cover for me. So she said, use that studio time. I will take that studio time. Instead of French and Saunders, I'll go in, I'll say, I've had a new idea for a sitcom. We happen to have done a sketch, which was a mother and daughter thing that became Ab Fab. And she said, I'll run with that. You go away and have your baby, you know. So she covered for me like a proper chum. But then, to my horror, that became incredibly successful.
That became
That was like, who the hell knew that she could be that funny on her own? You know, so I remember when she won endless, you know, awards for it and stuff, and I had this cocktail of emotions, which is, I'm so proud of you, and yet I'm so jealous, and I'm so everything about it. So I just sent her a big bunch of flowers and said, you know, congratulations, you utter cunt.
What a perfect gift.
Oh my God,
What a perfect message.
And that's what it is, you know.
Though, that the Ab Fab came out of that.
Yes.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Oh,
and
that
then,
must
and then
have
of course, what she did was include me and say, come and be in it every now and again. Have a look at some of the scripts for me. I'm not sure, do we need some more jokes here? So she would include me as part of it. So, you know, we're aware of when somebody's feeling a little bit threatened or whatever. And we were lucky, and it is luck, that while Ab Fab things were happening for her, Vicar of Dibley things were happening for me. So we never had to feel like anybody was winning and somebody was losing. It was never like that. And we would have picked each other up anyway. She's got my back. I love the bones of her. You know, and I can rely on her.
Yeah. Wow, that is amazing, and I think
that is actually very good advice for us. I think, Pats.
Well, yeah, and I think there's a lot of things. You are.
I think there's a lot of shit in there that we could deal with.
Well, that you could deal with.
Mainly you. Mainly you.
I've got no idea what being because, like I said, I've got a sister-in-law who I love so much, but I've never had a sister. I've got a brother, and you know, with a brother who, you know, he's a couple of years older than me. It was all about wrestling on the floor. There was a bit of cruelty. There was quite a lot of him pinning me down, drooling on me.
James,
You know, there was quite a lot of that. And then he went off to boarding school. I was so delighted. So his feelers gone. And I used to leave little notes for him. I mean, how cruel was this? I left notes for him in his drawer when he used to come home from boarding school. And it was hard for him to go to boarding school. No one in my family had ever done that. But we were in the RAF and moving around a lot. And the RAF would pay for you to go to these posh schools. So my parents went, yeah. But we were kind of out of our class and it was all kind of weird. Anyway, off he would go, be delighted because there was an only kid then. Got all the attention. When he would come home in the holidays, I'd leave little notes for him that said things like, I mean, what was I thinking? Things like, go back to Nam. Like, go back to Vietnam. He'd never been to Vietnam. He wasn't in the Vietnam War. I was just saying, go away. This is my house now. These are my parents now. I mean, just horrible things for him to come home to.
I love the fact that you called it.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, like you're some real gangster.
That was in my head. Yes, I know. I was
go back to Nam, yeah.
Him. But he does describe that, you know, wherever he tried to go with his mates and have fun, there was always this annoying girl, the sister, just trolling behind, trying to be involved with everything that he did. So he got very little time to himself. So I understand that that's dynamics.
That is a bit like Patty and us. That sort of,
is
you know, because obviously there's you kind of lagging around with my mates. Because
are you the youngest then, Patty?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, okay. So were you always trying to keep up with them?
I'm absolutely overjoyed that Dawn French is calling me Patty. How much joy that is brilliant.
We've made it now, Pat. That's it. We can just like, you know, we can jack all this in now.
She doesn't mind even. She's overlooking the fact that we've just totally insulted her. So long as we're being kind and using her funny name, everything's all right.
Yeah, that's how we like it, Dawn.
Hey, Patty, you've got no soul. Hey, Patty, nobody likes you. We can get away with anything.
Oh, God, that is... Well, yeah, James is in the middle. There's 7 years between Ange and I, and we are exceptionally close. She is definitely my best friend, but I think there's some really interesting things that you've said in there. The whole thing about being generous with one another and, you know, having each other's backs. And, you know, it is incredible that you two, 40 years on, are still titting about with your podcast, still making each other laugh. And I think one of the deepest things for me is that Ange is the person above most people who can really make me belly laugh.
Yes.
And so the whole time that we're just having fun together and trying to make each other laugh, which I would imagine is the same with you and Jennifer, that you genuinely make each other laugh perhaps more than most other people you've ever met.
Yeah.
And so if we are just continuing to say, we find this funny, we're going to dick about with it, we're not going to take it too seriously, we're going to try and make each other laugh, I think other people come along for the journey with that and are then like, oh yeah, this is funny too, they're finding it funny, this is funny, you know.
Oh, it's your kind of scaffolding, really. Anybody that makes you belly laugh, that understands you, that gets you, that gives you permission, and this certainly happens in our double act, in our relationship, is that you have to allow someone the chance to experiment with something, and it can be a bit embarrassing. You know, if you're writing comedy, you're trying something, you say, hey, is this funny? And then you do a funny face, and if that person drops the ball and goes, oh, no, it's awful and humiliating, but we would never do that to each other. We'd give it a go, always, so you are allowing someone to hold you a little bit emotionally and comedically, if you like. And what is better than somebody who makes you laugh the most? We're hungry for it, aren't we? It's like massive hit, so
absolutely.
of course you want that. It's a bedrock. That's what I find.
I also think the fact that you have said, like, one of the first things you said was how important your friendship was above everything else. Like, all of those other things are like the icing or the cherry on the cake, because it's stuff that you love to do, and but that kind of deep friendship that you have, and
when we meet up, we live quite close to each other down in the West Country, and we we don't have to be in each other's pockets. We don't talk on the phone every week if we're not working together. But one of the reasons we do work together is to have time together. Yes. I will often agree to things just so that I have time with her. Yes. And when we are working together, I mean, the podcast is the best thing because it's the most natural, as
Brilliant.
you know, the most natural way to be together. But easily our first couple of hours of being together, if we haven't seen each other for a little while, is catching up with the real stuff of life. There's well, there might be some jokes in it just for the hell of it, but it's mainly about what's the marriage like, what's the husband, what's the kids, what are the grandchildren. We catch up with all of that stuff because we know that, Jen's mum died recently, and you just think, God, she was there for me when my mum died, and these are big important moments in life. This is where somebody's, as you say, had your back and your front and your sides and every part,
and your buttocks.
And your buttocks, Don't get funny.
We're going to finish with...
Yes.
We know you've got to go, Dawn, because you're incredibly important and busy.
You are.
We're going to finish with, do you have anything, Dawn, that is getting on your shitting tits currently?
Yes. Well, I have so many. I realised I had a little thing, but I have many.
We love this.
But first of all, what's getting on my shitting tits is my shitting tits. Sorry to say, because I'm very, very fond of my shitting tits. I love. They don't actually shit. Let's just get that straight, because that would make a story.
Yes.
And I love them. I'm very fond of them. They're big. They're bouncy. They're all of that. They're a little playground for me and others to enjoy. But I sort of wish they could screw on and screw off. That's what I wish. If I really wish, so that I could do running. Because I don't think I've been able to do running, for lots of reasons, but don't think I've been able to do running since I was about 6 when they turned up. And I think I was about 6 when they turned up. And the other thing is, nobody, and this is a challenge, makes a bra that is comfortable.
Oh,
nobody.
I'm totally with you, Dawn.
And I've tried all of the ones. I've tried the expensive ones, the cheap, the ones that they say are miracle, the underwear, the non-underwear, everything. But every evening I want to get it off me.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate.
So that really, there's just days when I wish they weren't there. Yeah. And other days when I'm very glad they are.
I like the idea of screwing them on and off, though. That is nice. That is nice.
So that you can have them when you need them or when they're desired.
Yeah.
Do you find as well in the summer months, Dawn?
Yes.
I mean, there is a lot of sweat and heat. That goes on underneath them.
Oh,
that's the time when I wish I could just
talcum powder underneath person.
Yeah, talc.
Talc,
Give
which
me
I
all
think
the talc.
Isn't talc now as kind of not allowed to use? Isn't it carcinogenic or something?
It's all a bit weird.
Yeah,
isn't it,
I'm prepared to risk it. I'm risking it because I can't go without it. And do you know what I found myself doing recently? And this is a bit old lady. I rather than just your, I don't know if we're allowed to say names of brands, but rather than your Johnson's Baby, which is hopefully fragrance free and all the rest of it.
Yes.
But I found myself, I bought a tin of talc, lilac. Then I bought another one, rose. I think they're for 100-year-olds. And I mixed the two into a pot. And I've got, this is very secret stuff I'm telling you now.
This
very
is brilliant,
Dawn. We like it. This is what we're here for.
And then I put a powder puff in it, in the thing. And that goes underneath. at night and in the morning. I've got it on this very minute inside my bra.
Oh my
You've got it on this
Anybody
very
with big
minute.
tits knows this.
Oh, mate,
Big Tit Talc. Let's make a brand. Big Tit Talc. Let's
Tit
take
Talc.
what you've made.
Absolutely.
You could just call it in a tin. Tit
We
Talc.
could call it
Tit
tit
Talc.
talc.
Tit
What
Talc.
you
powder
don't want
puff.
is to be caught out with some kind of illicit affair that's sudden and spontaneous and impetuous in the middle of the afternoon with either your husband or a long-term lover you've kept secret or whatever, who says, hey, let's nip to the Holiday Inn for a bit of rumpy, and then to be found with paste.
Yeah, this is true.
Which is what it sort of turns into.
Yeah, tit paste.
As the
Tit
day
Talc
goes on.
becomes tit paste.
It does. And so
Yeah.
if you could invent something that didn't
Become
form
paste.
itself into
Maybe
a kind
that's what
of
we need to get on.
paste.
Let's get on Dragon's Den, the three
Come
of us.
on.
The three of us.
I'd love to be showing it on Dragon's Den.
Oh, I'd love to be
Tit
talking to Deborah Meehan about this. Meaden, Deborah Meaden. Deborah Meaden. I'd be
I love
saying,
her,
Deborah.
by the way. I've got a bit of a girl crush on her.
Me too.
Love her.
Love her.
We would have to do a demonstration as well, wouldn't we?
Oh, in the den,
in
yes.
the den. You know,
Yes.
bras off.
Well, that's
tits
you,
out.
Ange. No,
Puff,
that's
puff.
just you.
Yeah, it
You-
would be just you, Ange.
you'd
I
get
think
your bra off.
Patty and me
Yeah.
and you would be lined up,
Yeah.
and you would have been led to believe that we were all going to do it. But in fact, we would go 1, 2, 3,
Three,
and
bang.
only you would be
Right,
showing your
okay.
tits
Yeah.
to Peter Jones or whatever his name is, and all of them. I think Sarah would be up for this. Is she called
I
Sarah?
think Sarah, yeah.
She would be. I think
Who's
she'd
Sarah?
be interested.
Is it
Tuka
Sarah
Sullivan, not
Davis?
so much.
Oh yes, Sarah Day. Yes, because
Yeah, I think she'd be up
she's
for it.
quite well
She's got
endowed.
bosom.
Isn't
She
she?
would understand the
What do
need.
we think Peter Jones would think of it?
I think he'd be
I
very
think you'd
quiet.
go for it.
Very different
I think you'd go for it.
answers. Very different
Yeah, I
answers.
think.
This
I
is
think
this is
Jones
where
would
Ange
be
is
all
the
over
one to
that.
display.
Yes.
She's the one we leave to
Yeah.
display.
Yeah, and
it.
you and I would get very excited about the product dawn, I think. And
Yeah,
not so much.
absolutely.
I have also got great areolas. So,
Have you? Why? What's so
Yeah.
good about yours? Boaster.
well, they're just a really nice shade. You know, like some areolas can be very dark, can't they? They're
Yes,
quite dark
yes.
brown. Mine are not. They're quite a nice sort of shade of
Are they
brown.
pinky? Sort of pink?
pinky, a sort of pinky beige.
Yes.
This
And
is
also
hilarious.
my nipples, they're really quite huge as well. So I
So,
think for
sorry,
demonstration
aren't
purposes,
nipples areola? Aren't they the same?
No,
No,
the
what am I
areola
getting
is a
wrong?
bit
What's
round
wrong?
the Your areola is your outside sort
Outside.
of skin area, and then your nipple
And then you've got
is
your
your bit that
nipple.
sticks out.
Oh, okay. So the nipple
Yeah.
is only the sticky out bit. The
Yes,
other
that
rest-
is just your nipple.
I think of the
Yes.
nipple as all of that area,
No,
but then I
no,
also
I
think of an
don't.
areola. As
Areola
that.
is
Okay.
your surface area.
Yeah. Do you know? I'm going to regret this because
you're
I
not.
know
No,
that
you-
I'll
come
be
on.
seeing this in
Come
some
on,
red top
come on, bring it
paper.
to us. Bring it to us.
Mine, if the full bra is off and the paste is gone and all the rest of it, and I've smartened myself up and had a flannel wash. If I look straight on, I mean, I love them, really love them. Obviously, they've gone southwards a little bit
Yes.
now, but I don't even mind that. It's all,
No.
it's all in the name of bosoms.
Absolutely.
Little bit like sad dog looking at you. That's, you know, when a dog's going, please, can we go out?
Yeah.
Please love me.
Yeah.
That's the feeling I get
You
when I
get
look at
the
my
Breasts.
areola.
Oh, your
nipple
areola.
area.
Nipple area.
That's the look.
Right.
It's like the eyes of a
The sad.
needy dog. That's all I'm
Can
saying.
I just say I am absolutely overjoyed that Dawn has said the word bosoms. I
Yes.
haven't heard that word.
The bosom.
Bosoms.
Bosoms. Come
Yeah.
into my bosom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me
Bosoms
caress
are
you.
great, aren't
Oh,
they? I mean,
bosoms are great.
believe me, I wouldn't swap them really with anybody. Sometimes, as I say, if they could twist off, that would be good.
Yeah.
Especially in the summertime. And I thought this is what you were going on to say. When a young lady might wear a spaghetti strap dress.
Oh God.
Never been able to do
Never,
that.
no.
Never,
Yeah,
ever,
same.
because have to wear
Just
a big
can't.
thick bra with a
Yeah.
big,
I mean,
bit
I've
that goes
never
over
big
the
band
shoulder.
on it.
I don't like my arms, but yes, the bosom.
Yeah,
have not been
arms,
such a
exactly.
problem
That's
for
part of
me.
it. And you will find your young things at the moment, but you will find as you get older that there is an area in your actual bones of your shoulder that become the bra strap.
Placement.
Yes, placement.
sort of
like a little
runner.
nook where they
Yes,
go. I mean, and I find that upsetting. That there's an actual place where the runner, where
The
they
runner.
fit in.
Yeah, they just
There.
pop
I
them
mean,
in,
that's
lick them
my
in.
body has learnt to wear a bra.
Do
have 5 minutes left with
Oh,
Dawn before
okay.
because you have to go at 12:30.
Yeah, I do.
We've been very strict with the timings.
Yeah, that's okay.
And
that's
we've also
good.
been very chatty.
We have been very
This has
chatty.
been one of the best hours of my life.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
delighted
Honestly,
to
yeah.
hear about that.
And
Do you know how I think of you guys as sexual health?
Oh,
Yes, I do.
Why?
Sexual.
Because haven't I seen you giving information on sexual health?
You
You
probably
have
seen
seen
me.
Patty.
Yeah.
Exactly.
On the joy of teen sex.
Yes,
Yeah,
many
Channel
years
4.
ago, I think I saw you doing that. But I've also heard you talking about
Sex.
menopause and things like that, and being
Yes,
very
that's-
upfront
and
about things.
I've
and I'm all
talked about
for
infertility. I am also infertile.
That. Oh, yeah, right.
So
Okay, yes, been there.
Matthew and I don't have we don't have children.
Okay.
So I talk a lot about sex and infertility and the way
Yeah.
that also messes up your relationship.
Yes.
When you are constantly timing to have a baby. So
Yes.
And then also the other end of the spectrum, Dawn, where I'm on the HRT shit, and also that then
Yes.
affects your sex because you're like,
Yes.
do I really
Oh
want
my
it?
God!
No, I
Thank
don't.
God you are sisters who can share all of
Yes,
this stuff
all of
very
this,
honestly
all
and
of this.
openly.
Yes,
That is very
it is
important.
very important.
Yeah.
well,
it is.
Dawn, look, we have had the best hour with you.
Oh,
Thank you
I
so
wish I could say the
much.
same.
Yeah, well,
Just lie. Just lie,
For
Dawn.
me,
Just
it's
lie.
been
Tea.
what I like to call irksome.
And
You know, it's been an
obviously-
interruption in my otherwise very jolly, happy
wonderful
day.
day.
It's been that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say that about us, to be
about
honest.
us. Yeah, a lot of people say that about Ange, to be honest. If this had just been a one-on-one, it would have been a completely different experience for you.
Well, remember,
But-
you've got a challenge to come up with 5 minutes of
5
material
minutes.
that you
now,
could
if we do
perform on a
that,
stage.
can we
We
perform
send
it
it
to
to
you
you.
first?
Yes.
Just as a little.
I would if
performance?
you
Okay.
video it
Yes,
and
yes,
send it to me.
you.
But it's got to be something I can open on literally the simplest of
Oh,
telephones.
yeah, it's fine.
Devices, yeah.
Okay,
Why don't
yeah.
we just FaceTime you?
You could FaceTime me. Uh-oh, here we go.
do a
This is where the stalker behaviour becomes. Shit.
Uh-oh, she's
Yeah,
talking
here we
about
go.
the FaceTime.
If I could FaceTime you, like, this afternoon after this.
Yes, maybe we could go for a
And
coffee.
through the night, maybe.
We could share tit talk.
We could tits out. I would do that if it wasn't being recorded. I would absolutely. You could see the little sad dog looking at you.
Yeah. In Dragon's Den now, I think you should take your bra off, Dawn, because I want to see the sad dogs.
Sad dog.
I'll show you the sad dog another time. I want to see Ange making a total tit of herself.
Yeah. Now, talking about tits,
I will do that.
People can obviously find your podcast on Audibly, can't they? You and Jennifer. I
Yes,
love
they
it, by
can.
the way.
Yes, they
It's
can.
so
We've just
good.
done a third series,
Third
and I
series.
think it'll be out
Brilliant.
any minute. Yeah.
So Titting About, you can find that.
Great name for a podcast as well.
Great name. When
Yeah.
it came out, Ange and I were like, that's such a good name.
Such a bloody
Well,
good
I
name.
wanted to call the second series Arsing About and the third series Fannying About, but she said, no, let's just stick with the tits. I mean, yeah, okay. And that, my friends, is compromise.
Yeah.
That is
Yes.
well done. Yes.
Well, look, you can find Dawn on Instagram now, can't people? Can find
Yes,
you on
I'm
the
quite new to it, but I'm not
Yes.
very good at it yet, but I am there, and I am on Twitter.
And she's on Twitter as well, so
Yeah.
go and follow her. Obviously, you probably do already. You can find Ange and I both on Instagram. I'm at Ruth Gordon, she's at Ange Gordon. You can also find the show across all social media. Just search Finding the Funny Podcast. But Dawn, you have been absolutely sensational.
darling
Thank
hearts.
you.
A
Next
pleasure.
week, Ange and I will be back on our own, unfortunately, helping
Yeah.
you to find more of the funny.
Yeah.